Oh, welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss. And thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech good.
Doing tech. We're bringing the energy. Brian, where the heck are we?
I think.
Florida. We are in Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, and we're at the UX+DEV Summit. Yeah,
the UX+DEV Summit. It is a 5-day summit. 4 days of workshops, 1 whole day of speakers, and some workshops on the side. And we are speaking with Martina Mitz. I'm not allowed to say her full last name because apparently I cannot do it correctly.
Just try it real quick.
Just try it. Try a joke. Come on.
I got this, everybody. It is Yvonne.
No, wait. You have first name first.
Oh, okay. Martina Ivanova Metieva Elva. Nailed it.
Right, guys, what he's
Nailed
trying
it.
to say is Martina Ivanova Mitsieva Velia. You see what easy
Yeah,
as
she
that.
did 2 thumbs down about halfway through, by the way, for our audio listeners.
Yeah, I nailed it. First try. Bam!
Bam! Let's stick to the user-friendly version, no?
Mitz.
Because otherwise...
Sorry about that.
Don't worry, I'm so used to it. It's
Yeah.
absolutely normal. Hence the friendly version.
So, what are you doing here? Oh my goodness!
That is a good question. Thanks first for saying
And I
where
don't
we
mean that,
are.
and I don't mean that in an
needed-
existential way.
No.
Yeah.
I absolutely needed the orientation where we're at. So
Yeah.
thanks for that
Yeah.
at first. What I'm doing here is seriously trying to give a way to the local community to understand not just what they hear from people while they talk to people,
Okay.
but how to observe them and how to kind of start reading between the lines, which I think is particularly important for the surroundings we're in when you hear awesome the whole time, but you know there is more underneath.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much in essence what I'm trying to give people a quick way to understand what is underneath.
Yeah. What does all
What is
that
the
mean?
actual message?
That subtext,
What's
if you
the
will.
actual-
Yeah, exactly. Dive into your talk. Let's talk a little bit about you, and if you could share with our audience who you are and what you do.
How long do we have? I know I have just...
We got 20 minutes, 25
hours.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, but we'll
Unfortunately, not
cancel
the 2
everybody
days.
else for you. So go ahead.
No, so roughly about me,
There's paparazzi in the audience, by the way.
I'm already starting here to
Yeah.
get the jitters. So originally I am from Bulgaria, Eastern European country, for all the viewers and listeners who are not aware of, a very tiny country. And I left there when I was 18, went to Germany, started.
Why did you leave, by the way? Unless it's
That is
too...
a very good question, but for that we'll need much more time
Okay.
to kind of go in detail. Roughly said, Bulgaria was a communistic country.
Yeah.
Communism broke when I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
When I was 10,
Quite
I
extreme.
started having a computer. So up with a computer, but it was very restricted in the time I grew up. So we all youngsters were kind of with that idea, all right, we want to get out there and experience the world that was forbidden for us. So for me, it was clear I'm not going to stay in that country. There are not many things to do there.
Yeah.
Straight after such a huge transformation.
Yeah.
It was very,
Rough.
very chaos, very lost. So I decided, okay, I need to pursue myself and my
Good for you.
passions.
Yeah.
And that was definitely something when you come out of school and they face you with that first big question, what do you want to become when you grow up?
I'm like, I don't know.
I didn't know it, but I was like, you know what? I'm fascinated by humans and their behaviors and the cognitive patterns and everything that happens, humans and interactions between them. Give it to me.
Ooh.
Like, absolutely. So then it was quite a no-brainer to make the connection. If you want to study psychology and go in that area, Germany is pretty much the leader in all of that. So I was like, yeah, if I get the chance, even if I have to study that crazy complicated language, I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna learn it. And that's
So did you
what
learn
I
it?
managed.
Did you pick it up?
You know German? Okay.
I managed German anyway, because I had to write a book in German, guys, to finish the study.
Oh, wow.
But I managed to actually finish a full study. So it's, I think you call it masters, but it's like bachelor and masters in one. It's called diploma.
Uh-huh.
So in Germany, I'm allowed to have a title in front of my name. That's how official
Yeah.
it
And
is.
what's the title?
Diploma psychologist.
Damn.
Damn.
Oh, nice.
Oh, diploma psychologist.
Impressive, isn't it?
That is
I
impressive.
don't use it. I don't use it because it's just half of what I really do.
Mm.
Then I started working as a clinical psychologist because you kind of develop that helper syndrome once you study how you can help people. Now you
Yeah, now
really
you
want
want
to
to help
try
them.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to get people and help.
Did you help a lot of people?
I'm
I need
not sure. I'm not sure I can answer that because that's one of the most unthankful professions you can be
Yeah.
in.
Sure.
You have less than 10% success rate. I was working with very hardcore cases,
Yeah.
I have to say. Less than 10% success rate, and yet it's not even long-term success. You see these people in 6 months later
Yeah.
wasting their life, and you can't do anything. It's not up to you, it's up to them. You're
they
just
have
a
to change
guiding.
themselves. All
Yeah.
you can do
You
is like
try.
point them in the direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can try, you can kind of nudge here and there.
Well, you can feel good that maybe you made some kind of change, and maybe along the way that takes hold.
I tried
Yeah.
my best, but that was great learning, to be honest with you. It wasn't a fail, but it was great learning because very quickly, less than a year, what am I doing here? It starts making
And was this
sense.
in Germany?
That was in
Okay,
Germany
okay.
straight
Still in
after
Germany.
finishing
Okay.
the study in German on top of it. And then I realized I'm lacking such a big part of myself. Nothing was coming out of these hands.
Mm.
The only creative parts that we had was a group therapy session. Yay.
Yeah.
And I lacked such a big part of my personality that it actually went in a spiral pretty quickly
Yeah.
down.
It's like you're helping others, but not yourself.
But then you
Yeah.
feel like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually. So that part was really missing. I was on a huge crossroad,
Mhm.
like existential crisis. I can't do that anymore. I studied over 7 years to get there with German.
Like,
and-
what am I gonna do now?
what am I going to do? Am I just throwing away 7 years of my life? That happening around 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
Drop effort
Yeah.
behind. So I was like, you know what? Since the beginning of the century, that's how old I am. I'm lucky that you don't see the white hair. Since the beginning of the century, I started teaching myself web design, and I started having small to mid enterprise, like very small clients, local clients.
Nice,
to
good for
kind
you.
of finance my study and my living in Germany,
Yeah.
because that's also the economical gap I came from. And by that time, I finished as a clinical psychologist, and I was like, now what? I was like, okay, that's my profession, and that's a thing that I won't throw away because it fascinates me. Psychology is like, I love it. On the other hand, my passion is web design. Back in the time.
And it's so funny too because at the time, like you're saying, like back at that time, there was no like, oh, well,
No crossover.
Yeah, no crossover.
You know, when I sent application, back then I decided, okay, psychology and web design or advertising in general, that's kind of
Sure.
There is
That's
crossover.
marketing. Yeah, there's marketing.
I started sending my application to advertising agencies. Well, guess the reaction. It was like, but Miss Mitz, but you're a psychologist on the phone, and I'm like, thanks for that information. Yeah, I was aware of that already. But we're an advertising agency, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I was aware of that as well. Hence, I sent my application to you. They couldn't sort me at the time. We talk about 2008.
Yeah. Really? In 2008? That didn't
2008,
make sense to people?
2009, not in Europe,
Probably
guys.
not, yeah.
You already knew what UX is. We were still like, what? Psychology? No.
Yeah.
No, keep them nicely separate. There was one company in Berlin who said, oh yeah, psychology sounds interesting. User research. Like, fair enough. 1/3 of pretty much what I want to do, right? It's still
Yeah.
not like coming from a clinical psychology, then getting just one part again. Didn't sound right. And then I landed in
got your foot in the door a little bit, though, right?
It got me further a little bit in terms of, okay, a bit of orientation that I could do, but it still is not that nothing comes out of my hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, I'll still keep on digging in that problem if I continue that path.
Yeah.
So I did an internship at a very tiny agency, 3-man agency in downtown Berlin, and that was the eye-opener.
Oh,
that
nice.
was like, okay, this everything is advertising, and there is a research and conceptual phase. That is absolutely me. There are better people in visual design and development. I even used to say I'm cold allergic. Not, I work on my allergies, but the executing parts are better than I am. They're better people. But that part, to kind of from the wide world, all ideas possible, to kind of get to something that really makes sense and starts becoming tangible, and you can put it in front of people, get their feedback. That was the moment where I was okay. Even if I was crazy thinking that there is a crossover between these two disciplines.
Yeah.
Even if I'm still crazy, at least I'm not alone.
You can be crazy.
At least I'm not alone.
Yeah,
you know?
we will all
be
together in our craziness.
Talking about UX, user-centered, and I was like,
I'm the banana apparently.
That's me.
Yeah, and I'm a crazy.
See previous episode.
Yeah.
Good to know, guys. So I'm the normal one here.
Well, no.
Oh my God, yeah, by far. Trust
I don't know.
us.
She seems like she might be the peach.
The peach?
Are you
crazy?
Are you easy? Do you get along with people immediately, but then to get to know you more, or is it more difficult? That's a peach.
I would say I'm the peeled off onion. I'm like, what you see is what you get.
Onions are getting.
I have to work on that.
Okay.
Because
But you have many layers too. So.
I have many layers in terms of interests and passions. Yeah, but I talk openly about them all.
And you're really good in stir fry.
In what?
Stir fry.
What is that?
That you chop up onions, green peppers, meat.
I had to. I had to learn to chop up stuff. Yeah.
We all have to.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your talk. So
please.
I want to say this correctly, so I'm going to look at it. Learn how to observe and identify what really motivates people.
And it's a workshop.
And it's a workshop. Yeah, excuse me. It's a workshop. So
half a day workshop.
Wow, half a day. Wow. Okay. So within the half a day, I'm going to learn
everything you need
to observe people. So I'm going to observe people, and then
like a real psychologist.
Career psychologist, and then I'm going to identify.
Yes.
So tell us about that. Walk us through that.
How much do you pay?
A short bit. Just tell us.
Joke aside. No, I love doing that workshop because that's exactly the essence what makes me who I am.
Yeah.
I believe that there is the layer that you get when you talk to people, and there is a whole other layer underneath.
Oh yeah.
There is at least roughly 70% that we go through the day and we don't realize. Just a question, guys. You realize right now that you are wearing socks or shoes?
Yeah, flip-flops.
The moment I asked you, if your brain keeps that information conscious all the time, then you want to have capacity for pretty much anything else, right? So that is a protection mechanism from the brain to kind of keep a big part unconscious, so you can concentrate on the conscious stuff.
Kind of like if I asked you to wear that shirt the day after yesterday, right?
Yeah, or something. And you
what you did, right?
And you start like, no, stop it.
Didn't you wear that shirt the day after yesterday?
The day after yesterday, you're there. 3 hours of sleep and look what they do. Yeah.
I didn't do it. I'm the nice one. He's the mean one.
I'm not mean. I'm just crazy.
The thing is, it's not the shirt, guys. That's why I was confused.
Oh,
it's a
blouse.
An overall.
Oh, it's overall.
I just noticed. See, you did. You had no idea.
I had no idea.
That well camouflaged.
That's what that's what I get for interrupting you. I apologize.
Oh no, please.
Yeah,
otherwise we'll overdo.
I digress. Please continue.
So the essence of the whole talk pretty much is I love dwelling into psychological theories, into psychotherapy theories, which is the high level of psychology where you really get applied and you work with people. And because my best friend is a psychotherapist just finishing her education, and she was learning that theory that I presented from Klaus Grave, a German-speaking guy. You guys are much better in tech and UX. Europe is still better in psychology, so I'm glad to be in the right spot, because that guy actually comes from Switzerland. I think he's a German, but has worked in a Switzerland university. Develops pretty much a theory. It's called the consistency theory, and he says at the bottom of every behavior. So behavior is a symptom, if you wish, for a basic need.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I follow you.
And he says there are 4 basic needs. One of the strongest ones, orientation and control. The moment that is kind of disturbed, and we talk about psychological needs, right? Not Maslow's pyramid with all the, not that, but we talk about the last layers of Maslow's pyramid. When the physiological is satisfied, what comes after.
Right.
So these psychological needs, he says there are 4: orientation and control, self-esteem or self-actualization. Then we have the, what was it called? The belonging. So you belong to a certain
community
group, or it was something with A, but I just forgot the term. And then the last one is the pain avoidance or pleasure maximization. So watching a behavior, his theory pretty much says, when you watch behavior, if you do plan analysis, which is the actual method that stays behind that theory, which is studied by professionals over half a year. So my best friend had to go through that. And in the rehearsal, I was like, you know what? That actually makes sense. It's overcomplicated because it's for psychologists.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm sure we can break it down. Pretty much what they say is when you watch a behavior and you know which analytic paths to take, you can dwell down and create a hypothesis about the underlying need. And what I took out of that, to make 4 easy steps to get, again, I say it's a hypothesis. You can't open the brain and know the truth.
Sure.
But you generate a hypothesis. On that hypothesis, unfortunately, don't want to, no, not opening any brains here. It's not ethical.
What are you doing to my head?
50s. Not yet. We're getting there. So pretty much when you derive to that, okay, let's say in many of the cases, people lack orientation and control. Best case, I come in here, I look at these signs, and I'm like, where is the room we're supposed to meet at? So of course, as a woman, I first walk in the wrong direction. I mean, I have a stereotype to fulfill. Women are not good with orientation, right? Absolutely falling into the stereotype. But that's a very strong need. So when you derive, for example, you watch a person look at their phone on a waiting queue at a coffee shop. And then you see they're actually looking at their calendar, planning what the rest of the day is. It gives them a feeling of control. But it also gives them the feeling of what time slots do I need to allocate, what orientation throughout the rest of the day. Now, if you take that phone away, imagine what happens. That person will be like, oh my gosh, half of my brain is gone.
Yeah, I lost control.
So these devices help a lot and that behavior we watch.
It hurts as well, though.
It hurts as well in many cases, of course. There is always the positive and the negative in something you get. I think it's a full package of positives and negatives. But the interesting part is the moment you say, okay, very probably that person watched their phone because they had a under-delivered need for orientation and control, and they needed to fulfill that by watching their phone and calming themselves down that they're in control. Now you can take that need and actually start designing something that docks into the actual need. And once you've got that design something, that solution, now you can go and put something in front of people and ask them. If you've asked them before, excuse me, do you look at your phone because you have the need for orientation and control? These guys will be like, where are you?
What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
What the hell?
Good point.
So therefore, the original title of the talk was Design Without Talking to Users. But that was very controversial in UX areas, as you can imagine.
You should have kept the name.
I think it
Very
was good, but then a
controversial.
couple of people,
People
we
all
also
riled
work
up.
with very newbie people, and a couple of people actually had the expectation for me to teach them how to
Yeah.
design without ever
Yeah.
having
but
interaction
but
with
you
you.
know,
Which
I
is
would,
no.
I would say that as an aspect of UX, though, just observation. I mean, that's what a lot of UX is watching how someone uses an application or a service or participate in something.
It's
and
a
how they
very
respond
valid
to it.
research
So, yeah,
method.
it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
underserved, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, because you
Yes.
have to be a very good observer.
Yeah.
The own biases and all of that, all these effects that start flowing while you watch someone and you think you know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
it's important to make assumptions, but make multiple assumptions and then track each one.
And then
Yeah.
to be good in your assumptions, get in a group. Talk with other people what you
Exactly.
observe. That
So it's not just you.
objectifies
Yes.
a bit your interpretation of what. And by the way, there is a great quote that backs me up. You guys know the inventor of the car,
Oh,
Henry Ford.
Of course, yeah. I met him.
Henry Ford, of course. You
It's a method.
that
We-
white hair, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm an
believe
old-
you.
I'm an
Well,
old
we
man.
actually
I believe you.
interviewed him on the show.
Right?
Yeah.
Send me the
I
link,
kept
please.
telling him, don't make all black cars. Let's get some grays and yellows.
I'm a fan of
Yeah, me
the
too.
best car is the black car. I think it's also a quote from him.
Candy
Absolutely.
apple red.
I'm sorry about Brian.
Yeah, no.
Oh, she's high-fiving me.
like oh, positive. No, but what Henry said, and I admire him for that. If I would have talked to people
Okay.
back then, I would have ended up designing faster horses. And that is the essence of my
Wow.
talk,
Yeah, I've heard
pretty
that
much.
before.
If you go at the beginning and you don't know your solution, and now you go and ask people, how should I do your need?
Yeah.
Then you're a lazy designer or a business owner. I'm sorry to say that's straightforward, but that is the work we should do,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And for that, I think observation is one of the best methods. Once you get to something tangible, as I said, you get in a group, you discuss,
Yeah.
debrief these observations and learnings, and now you have, out of that world of solutions, you have that will make sense as a playground. And now you can start iterating on that. Sometimes, you have to go back to your observations and check if it was the right hypothesis you derived.
Sure.
I mean, ideally, you should do that no matter what. Yeah, if you validate.
You say it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to teach
yeah.
it. You say it, of course.
Validate. Yeah.
So the essence of it is 4 easy steps. You watch a behavior. For example, woman watching her phone. You ask yourself, she's watching her phone so what's the functional goal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You come on the first level, which is that functional level. What does she want to achieve? A job to be done. As simple as that.
Yeah,
Right,
just
yeah.
like defining user stories
Just
and
a
user
function.
jobs. Yeah.
Right. Next question is, when you have that goal, for example, she wants to stay up to date,
Yeah.
right? She's checking calendar or
Mhm.
Facebook. She wants to stay up to date. Next question is that an approaching behavior or is it an avoidance behavior?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah.
By that, you arrive on the emotional level, so a level deeper from the pure function, I want to achieve sending an email, to I want to be correct and answer on time to my
Yeah.
That is where it starts
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah. The heart. Yeah.
The moment you get that goal,
Yeah.
it's pretty much a no-brainer for which of the 4 needs will be the one driving that behavior.
Right. And where do you take that? I think you said that in a nutshell. That's great. Really, really smart.
And that is the thing. If you exercise these 4 steps a lot,
Mm-hmm.
then you become as good as psychologists, at least, at coaching people.
Great. No degree. I don't even need to go to school. Thank you. Woo!
You're welcome.
Well, hey, we are just about out of time. Is there anything that you want to share with our audience? Any
Did
kind of
I
closing
really took
statement?
all the time? Guys, you didn't manage to say anything. Did I really talk more than you? Oh my God.
No, Brian is a chatterbox. Trust me.
Yeah.
He wouldn't shut up. No, we're
It's
here to
about
talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I did take the whole time. Oh
No,
my gosh.
we're glad. No.
It was so nice that time runs, right?
Yeah.
This is how I decided what my passion is, by the way. I looked back at what do I do for 20 hours, and I look back and I have the feeling that it's been an hour or 2, and I'm still, that was this
Sorry.
creating these concepts and
It's about following your passions. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how can people find out more about you, follow you? What's your Twitter handle, website?
The user-friendly version, Martina Mitz. Mitz. You can find me everywhere by that friendly version of my name. And of course, feel free. So I'm more than happy to share the word. I would do it always pro bono if it was possible, to be honest, because I do think we're the advocates for these movements, and I'm so convinced that what I do makes sense. And I got so great feedback of people being immediately able to incorporate it that always happy to share, always happy to help. Feel free to add me anywhere on social media, Facebook, Twitter, everything is open. More than happy to be there for anyone who needs help.
Nice, thanks. That's very generous of you. Well, appreciate you being on the show.
Great talking with you.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
All right.
I didn't promise too much.